From VOA Learning English, welcome to the Economics Report in Special English. China has been struggling to deal with record levels of smog over Beijing. Recently, officials in several Chinese cities announced plans to trade carbon credits as a way to reduce air pollution. For many years, China considered economic growth more important than the environment. The nation remains hungry for energy, but it has also become the world's biggest producer of carbon gases. Beijing's smoggy days have made international news. Small particles in the air reduce visibility and threaten public health. Smog has been a concern in the city for years, but a sharp rise in pollution levels in January led to sharp criticism from many Chinese. Pollution from coal-burning power centers and factories is a big part of the problem. Now, officials hope to control industrial air pollution by creating systems to trade carbon credits. The trading systems or platforms would enable companies to receive credits for lowering greenhouse gas emissions. The credits can then be traded. The goal of these market-based platforms is to get businesses to invest in clean technology. Markets for carbon credits are expected to open this year in 7 cities, including Beijing, Shanghai, and Tianjin. Officials say the government has decided to start with pilot programs because carbon trading is something new. China wants to launch a national carbon trading program by 2016. Still, public pressure continues building on the government to find an answer to thick air pollution. Wu Changhua is with the Climate Group. She says the Chinese people are looking at more than jobs. They want a better environment, too. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal. This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. President Obama has been seeking support for his $447 billion jobs plan. The American Jobs Act calls for cutting wage taxes on most businesses. It seeks to prevent public employees like teachers, police, and firefighters from losing their jobs to budget-cutting measures. And it calls for more federal spending on roads and transportation infrastructure to help create jobs. In October, the Senate blocked a vote on the full bill. President Obama said he would seek votes on different parts of his jobs plan. Mr. Obama and his wife, Michelle, traveled to North Carolina and Virginia as part of efforts to seek support for his jobs plan. The Republican majority leader in the House of Representatives said some parts of the bill are like those in a plan put forward by the Republicans. Eric Cantor urged President Obama to find common ground with House Republicans. We want the president to work with us. We want him to stop campaigning. Let's go find the things that are in common between this plan and his. Republicans in Congress offered their own plans to improve job growth earlier in the year. They have called for cutting tax rates and limiting government rules on businesses. Also, in October, Congress passed free trade deals with South Korea, Colombia, and Panama, and the president signed them into law. Both Mr. Obama and congressional Republicans agree the deals should create jobs at home and open markets to American exports. United States trade officials say every additional $1 billion in new exports supports 6,000 additional jobs. Last year, exports to South Korea alone stood at about $39 billion. But the president says a lack of jobs continues to hurt economic growth. The unemployment rate held at 9.1% in September. The economy added over 100,000 jobs during the month. But economists say that is not enough to markedly bring down the jobless rate. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. Our programs are a way for people to read, listen to, and learn American English and much more. You can download transcripts and MP3s of our stories at voaspecialenglish.com. You can also join us on Facebook and Twitter at VOA Learning English. This is the VOA Special English Economics Report. Pressure for financial reform has been building in Europe. In June, the financial services company Moody's Investors Service reduced Spain's credit rating. The rating was cut from A3 to Baa3. That means that Moody's officials believe the credit risk of Spanish debt has moved from very low to moderate. The company said it acted because Spain is borrowing about $125 billion in rescue loans for its banks. Debt markets punished Spain by pushing up the interest rate on its long-term debt to about 6.8%. That increases Spain's borrowing costs and hurts its already troubled economy. Spain was not the only country to get downgraded by Moody's. Cyprus got the same treatment. Recently, American Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner spoke at the Council on Foreign Relations in Washington. He said the increase in borrowing costs for European countries like Spain means European officials must move quickly to avoid growing costs. In his words, if you wait to move in these things and you let the market get ahead of you, then you increase the costs of the solution and you make it harder to get there. Once you decide, he said, there is no argument for doing it slowly. Germany, Europe's largest economy, has been pushing for economic reform in the 17 countries using the euro. But German Chancellor Angela Merkel has argued that her country is unwilling to put money at risk unless banking reform is enacted throughout the Eurozone. She warned that Germany's economic power was not unlimited. In early June, the European Commission proposed steps toward a common banking policy. The proposals include empowering nations to intervene when their banks are in trouble. But proposed changes may also bar support for failing banks. Some European leaders are pressing for an expanded European bailout fund. Germany has resisted providing new financial resources, but details of any deal with big European economies have yet to be decided. Europe's financial crisis is likely to be a major international issue in the weeks to come. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. You can read, listen, and learn English with more stories about economics and other subjects at voaspecialenglish.com. From VOA Learning English, this is the Economics Report in Special English. Can you think your way to wealth and success? Napoleon Hill believed that if you think the right thoughts, you can. In 1937, he published the book Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill spent many years researching financial success and observing people who had become rich. Although it was published in the middle of the Great Depression, it was an immediate success. Think and Grow Rich remains one of the most popular nonfiction books ever written. Forbes magazine says it has sold 70 million copies since it first appeared and continues to sell today. Napoleon Hill wrote at least 10 other books about success before his death in 1970. None of Hill's books came close to selling as many copies as Think and Grow Rich. But for today's generation, Think and Grow Rich is now available in a different form. Smarter Comics has released an illustrated version of the book. Franco Arda is the company's founder and publisher. He used to work as an investment banker. He started the company 3 years ago with his own money. He wanted to create picture books that increase understanding. His versions provide much of the information that is in full-length books, but in an easy-to-understand picture or comic form. Franco Arda says readers will understand and remember more about gaining success if they read the comic book version of Think and Grow Rich. He says pictures make the book easier to remember. He says the book taught him to change the way he thinks about money and success. Smarter Comics says the book tells how wealth is a lifelong pursuit achieved by believing in the value of personal ideas. It says anyone can achieve their dreams by refusing to be stopped by temporary problems. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal.